We've seen an awful lot of change in the last 10 years. A lot of change in the way that government works, a lot of change in technology, a lot of change in the way in the relationship between citizens and government. But my own perspective is that a lot of this is actually surface change. And when you begin to think about how and why government isn't using social media very effectively, except in a few isolated cases, or how and why government isn't crowdsourcing very effectively, or how and why citizens aren't getting their voices heard, actually the reasons why Involve was set up 10 years ago remain as valid as ever. And so and many of these are down to the myths that are inside the pamphlet that we're launching today. And we're going to go into the myths, so I'm not going to kind of talk about them now. And that's why I think this publication is so important. In some ways, it's a bit of a reprise of the thing that launched us in the first place, which was our People and Participation publication that turned into the website People and Participation, that has now just newly morphed into Participation Compass. And these myths are so prevalent. And we're continually trying to attack them in various different ways. And so over the next year or so, we're really going to focus on three fronts in terms of trying to tackle the myths. The first is the work we're doing with the British Science Association and Ricardo AEA around ScienceWise, focusing on policy involving science and technology and trying to get government to really open up that kind of policy and really tackling the reasons why government isn't doing it on a department by department basis. The second is focusing on local government and thinking about how do you begin conversations about climate change, which are going to have their biggest impacts on where people live, even if the causes are global and the causes are multiple and global. But the only way that we know from our pathways through participation research that the reasons why people don't engage, and one of the reasons is because the government tries to engage too often on abstract reasons, and the only way you can make policy concrete is by doing it at the local level. And so the second area of work is focusing on climate change and developing conversations at the local level and trying to find ways then to bring those back up to the national level. And the third way is focusing on how technology and particularly access to data is changing that relationship between government and citizen, and thinking about how do you make help government to focus outwards rather than inwards. And the words, the rubric that government is using at the moment is open government, open policy making, and we're going to continue to push on this and develop a program of work with various civil society partners to try and push on open policy and open government. So we're going to continue to slay the dragons and rescue the royalty and try and kill the myths and try and help all of government, not just the tiny pockets that there are, to innovate and actually start listening to citizens and make policy more effective.